The COVID-19 pandemic continues to afflict our nation and indeed our world. I do not for a moment doubt or question the reality of the pandemic, even as I make no pretense to understand it, or how it developed, or where it is headed, or how it should be treated, or how the government should respond to it. Those are questions very much outside my sphere of knowledge, above my pay grade. James 3:1-3 say, "Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. I therefore do not wish to use this platform or my position to speculate about COVID-19. Again, that is beyond my knowledge, experience, and authority, lest I stumble in what I say or cause any of you gathered here this morning to stumble in some way. But while COVID is not in my sphere, this congregation is. I am your pastor. I know you, I love you, and I only desire God's best for you all. There is a pandemic, but there is also a plan and a power greater than this pandemic. God's plan for you as individuals and for us as a local church and for this community in which He has placed us, and God's power by which we together are His instruments for achieving that plan. Last night, the Prime Minister announced new COVID-19 restrictions. While these have not yet been confirmed, they are to be debated in the coming week. And if passed, they will be enforced from Thursday. The media is billing it as a second lockdown. But the government has been at pains to avoid that terminology and stress that this is much less restrictive than that which took place from March. Nonetheless, many places will be closed. And indeed, you may hear of many, perhaps most, places of worship closing. Does that mean if you come next week, you will find the doors closed? No. You see, we are not just a place of worship, and therefore our doors will be open, and we will be gathering next Sunday morning. The Prime Minister said, "School is the best place for children to be." A substantial principle of Christian faith and practice is that the church is the best place for Christians to be. All places of education, we are told, will stay open. Friends, the church is a center for education in the Scriptures, and thereby the Christian life, godliness, and the faith. So we will stay open. People are permitted to leave home to escape injury and harm. But where can they run to? Where can they escape to? If those who would love them most and extend the most important care to them bar their doors. Our church has been and will continue to be a refuge for such people. Whether the injury and harm they flee is physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, caused by abuse, domestic violence, hunger, unemployment, homelessness, or religious coercion. So we will stay open. People are permitted out of their homes to care for the vulnerable and to volunteer for the good of the community. And places of worship are specifically exempt from closure if engaged in essential, voluntary, and public services. Food banks and delivery services being one of the many examples that could be in view here. Much has already been done to this effect by our church this year, not least in the past week, as we fed children affected by the withholdal of funds for free school meals. There is now even more to do, but we need the hands to do it. Our weekly gatherings are not just religious box ticking. They never were. They are, in part at least, meant to encourage, inspire, equip, organize, and propel you back into the community for lives of sacrificial service and neighbor love. So it is because we want to serve. And it is because, not in spite, but because we love our neighbor, that we will stay open. Places of worship are permitted to remain open, in the guidelines' own words, to broadcast acts of worship. But what if there are no acts of worship to broadcast? We will stay open. Places of worship are permitted to remain open for support groups. And what is the church, properly understood, if not a support group? Here we have a community of people broken by sin, but blessed by the Savior and in the fellowship of His saints. Asylum, refuge, and economic migration, exploitative landlords, oppressive workplaces, alcoholism, drug abuse, porn addiction, promiscuity, sexual confusion, relationship breakdown, marriage conflict, spousal abuse, single parenthood, overworked and underpaid, unemployed and not paid, financial mismanagement, gambling, the fraudulent and the defrauded, illiteracy, post-cult recovery, racial trauma, sexual assault, tragic miscarriage, sinful abortion and its repercussions through life, complicated pregnancies, disease, depression, loneliness, bereavement. Collectively, we in this room, not some hypothetical imaginary people outside, but we in this room have seen it all, done it all, and we're sick of it all. We are desperately sick. We need the great physician, Jesus, and we need each other. So we will stay open. We will stay open not in a spirit of dangerous defiance, but rather of Christ-honoring compliance. We love God and we love our neighbors, and we see no reason to choose between these two commands. Functionally, we meet the government criteria for exemptions, and we can do so wisely and safely. We are not a potentially super-spreading gathering of thousands. We are a small local church of tens that has again and again chosen to scatter for the advance of the gospel through church planting, revitalization, and leadership resourcing. Though we have by choice, because of our obedience to Christ, remained small and insignificant, we know and believe that we can make a positive impact and a good difference if we all now pull together to truly support one another and to serve our community as a unique and distinct body of believers submitted to Jesus Christ as King. Brothers and sisters, we understand if not everyone can join us in person in the weeks ahead. We pass no judgment on people who choose, according to their own conscience, to remain at home. Nor is it our business to judge other places of worship who do not see things quite as we do. May God bless, help, strengthen, and sustain them and equip them for every good work. Indeed, may He be with us all. May He protect us. May He heal our nation. May He help us to stand over this next month. I look forward to serving alongside you in the days ahead. Please think clearly, carefully, strategically, and practically about how you can stand with us to serve Christ and our community. I'll look forward to seeing you. Some of you tonight, some of you Thursday night, well, some of you Tuesday night, some of you Thursday night, and hopefully all of you next Sunday morning. May God be with you.